Jennifer Garner has always carried a certain warmth with her, a glow that made audiences feel like they knew her. Whether she was donning disguises in Alias or charming her way into hearts in 13 Going on 30, Jennifer became more than just a star. She became a symbol of grace, strength, and humanity. But while the spotlight caught her brightest smiles, the shadows behind the scenes held a far more complex and painful reality. Now, she's facing a goodbye so profound, it's left her world rattled, and fans are asking, how did it come to this? And more importantly, what does this moment mean for the woman who always seemed to carry everyone else through? Jennifer's life off-screen has been just as watched and admired as her performances. But unlike her polished red carpet appearances, her personal journey has seen heartbreak, resilience, and quietly weathered storms. Her first major relationship began with actor Scott Foley. They crossed paths on the set of Felicity, and in 2000, their connection blossomed into marriage. But the fairy tale didn't last. Just 3 years later, the couple quietly parted ways, their lives moving in different directions. It wasn't until she met Ben Affleck that the public truly leaned in. Their chemistry sparked on the set of Daredevil, igniting a romance that quickly made them one of Hollywood's golden couples. They tied the knot in 2005 and began building a family that, to outsiders, looked picture-perfect. Violet, Serafina, and Samuel became the center of their world, and for a long time Jennifer was seen as the calm anchor in the turbulence of Ben's high-profile life. She stood by him during his struggles with addiction, always choosing compassion over conflict. But as time wore on, even the strongest foundations began to crack. In 2018, after years of trying, the couple finalized their divorce. Still, Jennifer never let bitterness take root. Even after the split, she continued to support Ben through his recovery and personal battles. Their co-parenting dynamic was built on mutual respect and unwavering focus on their children's well-being. In a town where breakups often lead to chaos, Jennifer and Ben set an example, proof that love can transform, even when romance fades. But just when it seemed like Jennifer had found her balance again, life had a different plan. As she was rebuilding, a quieter chapter had begun, one filled with hope and eventually heartbreak. Enter John Miller. A successful businessman far from the glitz of Hollywood, John brought something new into Jennifer's life: peace. Their relationship unfolded away from the flashing cameras, in quiet moments that weren't for the public eye. As CEO of Cala Group, a fast food and tech company, John represented a world completely separate from the one Jennifer had known. And maybe that's exactly what she needed. Slowly but surely, she began to smile again. Not the practiced smile of a red carpet, but the kind that comes from true contentment. Their love wasn't loud or headline-worthy, but it was real. And in the stillness of that privacy, Jennifer seemed to find herself again. For a while, it looked like this might be her second chance at happiness. A new beginning, far removed from the pain of the past. Then came the news that would bring everything crashing down. A diagnosis, devastating, unimaginable. The kind of revelation that pulls the ground out from under you. It wasn't about her, but someone very close, someone who had been a constant in her life. A beloved family member whose health took a turn that no one saw coming. And suddenly, Jennifer's world, carefully reconstructed brick by brick, was shattered again. She now had to be the strength for someone else, at a time when all she probably wanted was to break down. And yet that's the kind of woman Jennifer Garner is. Quiet strength has always been her superpower. While tabloids speculated and the internet swirled with rumors, she kept her focus where it mattered: her family. Friends say she's been pouring every ounce of herself into care, love, and presence. She's put work on pause, retreated from public life, and committed herself fully to the role that matters most to her: being a daughter, a mother, and a support system, in a time of profound uncertainty. And this is where we see the real Jennifer, not just the actress or the public figure, but the person. The one who walks into hospitals with a smile, even when her heart is heavy. The one who whispers comfort even while carrying fear. The one who keeps going, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. So now, as fans and the world hold their breath, watching from a distance, the question becomes, how does someone so used to giving love prepare to say goodbye? The truth is, she doesn't prepare. She lives it, moment by moment, breath by breath. And that's where Jennifer's story turns from a Hollywood tale to something universally human. She's not acting, she's enduring. And yet, even in this storm, she's become a reminder that grief, though painful, is proof of deep love. That vulnerability isn't weakness, that even the strongest among us need time to heal, because the spotlight might fade, but Jennifer Garner's light, it still shines, in resilience, in grace, and in the quiet courage of showing up, even when everything hurts. The news arrived like a bolt from the blue, quiet, heavy, and devastating. Jennifer Garner, who had finally found a peaceful rhythm with John Miller, suddenly found herself caught in the middle of a personal storm. John, the man who had gently helped piece her heart back together, was now facing a life-altering illness. Those close to them described the revelation as sudden and deeply jarring. No press release, no interviews, just hushed voices and long, painful silences. Something had shifted, and Jennifer's world tilted again. For Jennifer, life had only recently begun to feel light again. After years of navigating the aftermath of heartbreak, her days with John had been filled with quiet joy and subtle laughter. He wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't chasing the spotlight. He simply offered her stability and kindness, things she had come to treasure more than any red carpet moment. But with John's health taking a turn, that sense of calm began to dissolve. She was no longer preparing for a future, but bracing for something far more painful. Almost overnight, she cleared her schedule. Projects were paused. Public appearances faded. Jennifer wasn't looking for attention. She was looking for time. Time to sit with John during hospital visits, to hold his hand through uncertainty, to speak softly when words were too heavy. Friends began to notice a shift. Her smile, still gracious in public, had grown thinner, more forced. But in private, Jennifer was pouring every ounce of her energy into making John feel safe, comforted, and not alone. And yet, beneath her composure, there was a deep ache. As John's condition worsened, Jennifer found herself facing the unspoken reality, one that no amount of inner strength could truly prepare her for. The man who had quietly restored her belief in love was slowly slipping away, and she couldn't stop it. Her resilience was being tested yet again, not in the glare of Hollywood lights, but in the stillness of hospital rooms and late-night tears. What makes Jennifer Garner extraordinary isn't just her talent, but her quiet grace in moments most would never choose to share. She didn't run from this heartbreak. She stood right in the middle of it. Her children, who had grown fond of John, were now part of this difficult chapter too. Jennifer had to find the right words to explain things no child wants to hear. And she did it the way she always has, with honesty, compassion, and unwavering love. She held her family close while carrying the weight of it all herself. During this time, Jennifer leaned on the very people who had always been there. Reese Witherspoon, who had known her through years of ups and downs, and Victor Garber, her lifelong friend who had once walked her down the aisle. These weren't just celebrity friendships. These were bonds built over decades, the kind that show up when the cameras are off and the pain is real. They held her up when she couldn't stand on her own. But still, the hardest part was something only she could face. The reality of saying goodbye began to settle in. Jennifer didn't want it to be cold or clinical. She wanted it to be filled with warmth, memory, and meaning. She started planning something deeply personal, not a ceremony, but a farewell that felt more like a final love letter. She and John revisited old memories, laughing through tears about the first dinner they shared, the private moments no one else saw, the quiet life they built together far from the noise. And as John grew weaker, Jennifer made sure he was never alone. She brought in the people who mattered most to him. There were no goodbyes spoken aloud, just long embraces, knowing glances, and soft words whispered between breaths. Even in the face of heartbreak, Jennifer chose love over sorrow. She focused on what they had shared instead of what they would lose. The strength it took to stay present, to let someone go with such tenderness, speaks volumes about the kind of person she truly is. But perhaps the most gut-wrenching part was not just losing a partner, it was letting go of the quiet future they had imagined. The quiet mornings, the walks, the shared hopes that now would never come. Jennifer had once believed in second chances, and John had been that for her. Letting him go was like losing that hope all over again. And yet, she didn't fall apart. She allowed herself to feel every emotion, but she kept standing. In a world that often turns personal pain into headlines, Jennifer has navigated this storm with unmatched dignity. She never asked for pity, never sought sympathy. She simply loved, fiercely and selflessly, until the very end. That kind of love doesn't fade. It leaves an imprint, one that stays long after the final goodbye. And now, as she walks into the next chapter of her life, we're left wondering, how does someone find the strength to rebuild again? How does a heart that's been broken so many times still manage to open itself to love, even knowing the risks? Jennifer Garner's story isn't just about grief. It's about courage, about showing up when it's hardest, and about choosing love no matter the cost. In the quiet moments after goodbye, when the cameras have stopped rolling and the world expects you to be fine again, that's when real strength begins to reveal itself. And that's exactly where Jennifer Garner now finds herself. Standing in the silence, left behind by love, heartbreak, and a life she wasn't ready to let go of. The woman America fell in love with for her charm, wit, and quiet poise is now facing a chapter no script could ever prepare her for. But even in the aftermath of heartbreak, Jennifer isn't disappearing. She's rebuilding, gracefully, slowly, and with a quiet fire that refuses to fade. There's something hauntingly powerful about watching someone choose light after losing everything that once brought them peace. That's the road Jennifer is walking now. Her days, once filled with shared laughter and plans for the future, are now centered around creating a sense of calm for her 3 children. It's not just about healing. It's about showing them how to find hope, even when life feels unbearably unfair. She's guiding them through this storm with the same quiet bravery that has defined her public and private life. Behind closed doors, Jennifer has leaned into her simple passions, the kind that always brought her joy before the world came crashing down. Cooking has become her therapy again, not for an audience, but for her children, her close friends, and for the sense of normalcy it brings. She's returned to the kitchen where she once made quirky Instagram videos, only now it's quieter, more personal. But every slice, every stir, is a step forward. In these little rituals, she's rebuilding her world. And as always, Jennifer hasn't turned away from her mission to help others. That's the essence of who she is. In her sorrow, she's poured even more heart into her advocacy. Save the Children, early education efforts, rural outreach. These aren't just causes for her. They're lifelines. In times of personal loss, she's choosing to give more, not less. It's her way of channeling grief into purpose. One insider shared, "She's carrying John's memory forward by doing good in the world. That's how she keeps him close." But if there's one truth Hollywood often forgets, it's that real resilience doesn't show up in a headline. It reveals itself in quiet choices made every single day. That's where Jennifer is now. And that's why her story has resonated far beyond the red carpet. She's not just an actress enduring tragedy. She's a woman redefining what it means to grieve with grace. Still, this isn't the first time Jennifer has had to rebuild. And those who know her well say that's part of her quiet brilliance. She knows how to rise. She's done it before, and she's doing it again. But this loss cuts deeper. Saying goodbye to John wasn't just the end of a relationship. It was the loss of a future she'd finally allowed herself to hope for. And yet here she is, still smiling, still giving, still carrying on. Because for Jennifer, stopping isn't an option. What may surprise many is how grounded her life remains, despite her A-list status. While she's earned immense wealth and success, Jennifer has always been intentional about how she lives. She owns multiple properties across the country, including a stunning Pacific Palisades estate with serene views and a rustic modern design. Her real estate holdings reportedly exceed $40 million. She's also known for her modest taste in luxury, driving vehicles like the Mercedes-Benz GLE and Lexus RX Hybrid, and occasionally spotted with a classic Range Rover. Her collection of fine watches includes understated pieces from Cartier and Patek Philippe, reflecting her elegant but low-key style. Private jets? She prefers chartered flights for privacy, though insiders say she occasionally shares use of a small Bombardier Learjet through a discreet management firm. But the heart of her financial portfolio lies in smart, long-term decisions. She's invested in organic food companies, co-founded Once Upon a Farm, a thriving children's nutrition brand, and has a quiet presence in sustainable tech startups. Her career has also been safeguarded by comprehensive insurance policies, including high-value coverage on her acting contracts and health. Through it all, Jennifer's financial strategy emphasizes purpose-driven wealth, not excess, a model worth noting. And yet, beyond the numbers, what truly stands out is her consistency. Jennifer Garner has remained one of Hollywood's rare examples of someone who hasn't lost herself in fame. She's still the girl next door, even when the world around her is anything but familiar. Her choice to keep John's memory alive, not through sorrow but through action, speaks volumes about who she is. In a world addicted to spectacle, Jennifer quietly reminds us that dignity still matters. So where does she go from here? Maybe that's the most inspiring part. She doesn't need to rush into a new romance or headline a blockbuster to stay relevant. Her legacy is already sealed in something deeper. Her next act isn't about reinvention. It's about reflection. Her life, now more than ever, is about intention, about surrounding herself with truth, with warmth, and with the love of the people who matter most. In a time when headlines move faster than healing, Jennifer Garner's story stands still, for just a moment, and reminds us that even after the deepest heartbreaks, there's still space for hope. If you've ever found yourself starting over, rebuilding piece by piece, Jennifer's journey will echo in your heart. It's not about forgetting. It's about honoring, and then finding the courage to begin again. And just like that, we've come to the end of a story that wasn't just about fame or heartbreak. It was about humanity. Jennifer Garner didn't just show us how to survive a devastating loss. She reminded us how to keep loving, even when life doesn't go as planned. We've watched her navigate red carpets and romantic highs, but now we've seen something even more powerful. Her quiet resilience, her relentless kindness, and the way she turns even grief into something meaningful. That's not just inspiring, that's unforgettable. So what did we just witness? A woman facing one of life's hardest moments head-on, while still baking cookies for her kids, still championing early childhood education, and still making us believe that yes, grace under pressure is totally real. Jennifer proved that even the brightest stars can shine after the spotlight fades, and that maybe, just maybe, strength looks like a homemade pie, a family dinner, and a few deep breaths before stepping forward again. We also got a rare glimpse behind the glamour, into the homes, the investments, the legacy. It's not just about luxury estates or business ventures, it's about how smart choices and a grounded heart can build a life that's both successful and meaningful. There's a lesson in that. Whether you're managing a Hollywood empire or just trying to survive Monday, keep it real, stay humble, and invest in what matters most. Now we want to hear from you. How do you feel about Jennifer's journey? Which part of her story stuck with you the most? Drop it in the comments. We read everyone, and trust us, your thoughts matter here. And if this video moved you, inspired you, or just made you think, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and tap the bell so you never miss what's next. And speaking of next, we've got some jaw-dropping celebrity stories coming your way. From surprising comeback queens to the secret lives of stars you thought you knew. Trust us, you don't want to miss it. Until then, remember this: Jennifer Garner didn't just bounce back, she rose with intention. And in a world obsessed with fast fame and loud drama, maybe her quiet strength is exactly what we all need a little more of. See you in the next one. And hey, don't forget, real stars don't just shine, they endure.